Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another video. It's your boy, Polar Boy, and the MoonDrop Jokers. Am I right? These things have gotten a lot of hate since they've come out. But similarly to how you can be burned by hype, you can also be burned by hate. That is why I replaced all my audio devices in favor of the MoonDrop Jokers for 1 week. Let's see if these are really as bad as people say they are. So guys, I seem to have lost the unboxing footage for the MoonDrop Jokers. Therefore, we're going to do this little jank box showcase. So this is what it looks like on the outside. Got all your graph information and stuff right here. And when we pop it open, you get this nice insert for the headphones themselves. You got some user manuals, product cards, bags for your cords, and a box for the rest of your cords and whatnot. So as always, MoonDrop has very impressive unboxings. Other than the waifu box art, I really did feel like I was opening quite the piece of equipment. Now that illusion is kind of broken as you take them out of the box, because not only do they creak more than your grandmother's knees, but they also feel plasticky despite being coated in a asymmetric brass acoustic cavity. Other than their questionable build quality, I do really like the cable. It's good in the same ways the MacBook Pro cable is. It doesn't hold kinks in it. It's very loose. It doesn't tangle very easy. So in that regard, I like it a lot, but it also does pick up more microphonics than a kid's telephone science project. All right, on day 2, I was able to test the amplification requirements of these. I tested it with my phone, my tablet, my computer, and let me tell you, these eat more power than a sumo wrestler that's been fasting for a week. At 68 ohms and a sensitivity of 106 dB, these things definitely are gonna need an amplifier to run to the best of their ability. Considering they're studio headphones though, I do think most people interested in getting them would probably have a amplifier. Before we continue, can we get 1 like and 1 subscriber? Because currently there are 0 people subscribed to this channel. I'd love to get my first. Alright, yes. On day 3, I did lose the challenge. I just couldn't resist the sweet sonic bliss of the Meze 109 Pros. But that one setback isn't going to stop me from finding out the truth on if these things are really good. So on day 3, I tested them out with some games. I tested them with this Bigfoot survival game, and the atmospheric sounds came across pretty well. The footsteps were crisp, and gunshots had pretty good dynamic range on them, which kind of surprised me. And the imaging wasn't the worst thing I've ever heard, especially at this price. These are only like $80. I mean, can't complain. So on day 4 through 5, I found what these headphones are really made for, which, I mean, they're also advertised for, so it's not a huge surprise, but it seems like everyone's testing them with music. I'll get into that later. My job. Video editing. These things did great with all my video editing needs. For example, one project, I raised the volume on a couple clips, and on my Meze 109 Pros, it sounded quite nice. Those headphones make everything sound nice, so I continued on. But then, in the process of testing these, I continued editing that video, and I found that those clips that I raised the volume on were clipping like wild. So these really revealed those subtle details. So even though some might consider the sound quality of these to be quite boring, that neutral studio sound signature they're going for did help take back the spectacle and reveal what us editors and maybe music producers, whatever, really need to know about what we're editing. So yeah, if you're looking for a pair of editing headphones under $100, these might be for you. Let's continue on with our testing though. Day 6 through 7, the final 2 days. Now, I was testing the audio quality all throughout the period, but these 2 days I really focused on listening to the sound, and I'm ready to share my results. They're very unique. Let's go through some of the specifics. First off, the bass. Now the bass on these was very disappointing to me. It lacked a lot of punch and slam that I'm used to when listening to music. That's not to say it was completely absent though. For example, when I listen to Cold Shoulder by Adele, I always try to listen out for that sub bass at the start of the song, and it really wasn't there. But when I hooked them up to an amplifier and cranked the volume a bit, I could kinda hear those low notes. So if you're producing music, I guess you still can hear the bass and sub bass you might be wanting to add, but I would imagine that you'd come out with a warmer, bassier mix than someone with slightly more low range extended headphones. Now, there's a song by Powfu called Clash of the Titans, and now it's really hard for audio equipment to get the bass notes right in that song. It's kind of like this staticky, crazy bass, and I've listened to that song with like AirPods, car speakers, etc, and none of them are really able to get the texture of it right. These did, and that was really surprising to me because it was actually really enjoyable listening to a lot of Powfu stuff with them. Alright, now for the mid-range. To me, I feel like the mid-range on these is a little underwhelming. I feel like it's missing a bit of body. For example, on Natural Disaster by Zac Brown Band, I felt like the kick drums and the singers' voices just sound like they were missing some body. There was just a little too much treble for my personal taste. And not only that, but the strings were lacking a bit of detail compared to what I'm used to. But again, $80, you can't really complain too much. But I will say on some artists, I didn't really have these same issues. For example, Some Boring Love Stories Part 5 by Powfu sounded amazing on these headphones. I don't know if his music is just mixed really well, or these headphones are just tuned in a way that highlights his songs, but every single song was very enjoyable with these. His voice came across great. Like I said earlier, the bass was amazing, and the treble lended itself to the detail in the song. So overall, I think the mid-range was lacking a little bit of body for my taste, but it wasn't bad, so your mileage may vary depending on what you personally like. Okay, so now onto the treble. Now, I don't have a lot to say about this particular part of the headphones. To me, the headphones' sound signature just leaned bright overall, but I will say it never seemed sibilant to me. It never bothered me. And even though they're probably not the most detailed headphones you could ever get, the way the treble was tuned did give it a revealing sound signature to most songs. For example, Great Fairy Fountain, I could very easily hear little minute details that might get lost in headphones with a little more spectacle soundstage. It's just a little easier to pick them out, not necessarily because they have more detail, but because they have a more revealing signature. Okay, so soundstage and imaging. I think these headphones did a great job in this regard. They imaged very well on most songs I listened to. For example, Natural Disaster kind of redeemed itself with these just because of how well everything imaged. I mean, they're not the most wide sounding headphones in the world, so if you're looking for headphones that make it sound like the sounds are coming from outside your head, then they're probably not for you, but very good job, very impressive for the price range too. I would give them a orchestra inside of a giant 10 trash can with 3 feet of sound dampening foam out of 10. So overall, what did I find? Well, I think there's a lot of reviewers out there that are looking at these headphones and they're hearing this boring, bright, kind of just not fun sound signature out of them, and they're proceeding to give them very hard reviews. But when in reality, they were never really marketed as super audiophile oriented. They were mostly advertised as gaming and studio headphones. So if you're like an editor and you're on a budget and looking for something to reliably go through your timeline with and fix audio mistakes with, I think these are a great choice. I have a pair of $800 headphones and still can see the value something like this would bring to my workflow. So if that sounds like you, then I think these are definitely a good buy. But on the other hand, if you're looking for something maybe to listen to music, these leave a lot to be desired. So that's where I'll leave you guys. If you're looking for an editing headset, something to maybe mix music with, edit video, then go for it. I don't think you'll be able to complain too much because they're a tool. They're helping you get a job done. But if you just want something fun to listen to, nah fam, stay away from these. I think there's much better options out there for around the same price or even less. I mean, take the MoonDrop Arias, for example. I think they sound much better than these, and they're about the same price. But I would also choose these to edit video with. So do with this what you will. Please drop a like and subscribe if you did find this at all helpful. I'm trying to get to 500 subs. If you could take a second to hit that subscribe button, it'd be much appreciated. Later, losers.